The throne room of Prime stretched higher than any building on Earth. Queen sat on her crystal throne, her silver skin glowing softly in the light of three suns. She was beautiful in a way that humans could barely understand. Her eyes held the wisdom of 300 years, and her mind could crush steel with a single thought. Today she was bored. "The human delegation has arrived, Your Majesty," her advisor announced. His voice echoed across the massive hall. Sighed humans, the species to discover faster-than-light travel. They had appeared in the galaxy only 5 years ago, stumbling out of their little corner of space like children learning to walk. Their planet, Earth, was unremarkable. Their technology was primitive. They were laughably short. And now they wanted her protection. "Send them in," she said. The doors opened. 3 humans walked into her throne room. They looked so small compared to her people, so fragile. 2 of them wore formal suits that looked uncomfortable. The third man walked slightly behind them. He wore simpler clothes and had dark hair and calm eyes. This third man was. The lead diplomat bowed deeply. "Your Majesty, we come from Earth with a proposal of alliance. The galaxy is dangerous for new species. We need protection, and we offer our friendship in return." Studied them with barely hidden contempt. Protection requires payment. What can humans possibly offer the Empire? The diplomat swallowed nervously. "We offer our knowledge, our resources, and a bond between our peoples." "A bond," raised one elegant eyebrow. "A marriage, Your Majesty, between yourself and a human representative, a symbol of unity between our species." The court erupted in laughter. The idea was ridiculous. Queen, ruler of 200 star systems, married to a human. These creatures lived barely 100 years. They had no psychic powers. They couldn't even survive on most planets without protection suits. But didn't laugh. She was thinking. A political marriage meant nothing to her. She had been alone for decades, married only to her duty. If this human wanted to play at being her consort, let him. It would amuse her court and secure Earth's loyalty. "Very well," she said. "Which human do you offer?" The diplomat gestured too. "This is, Your Majesty. He is a decorated veteran and diplomat from Earth." Stepped forward and bowed. His movements were smooth and controlled. When he looked up, his eyes showed no fear, only respect. "I am honored, Your Majesty," he said quietly. Stood and walked down the steps of her throne. She circled slowly, examining him like one might examine a pet. He was taller than most humans, but still shorter than any. His muscles were lean, not impressive. His hands looked soft. "You understand this marriage is political only?" she asked. "I understand, Your Majesty." "You will have no real power. My people will see you as decoration, a curiosity." "I understand." "You will likely die of old age before I am even middle-aged by my people's standards." For the first time, smiled slightly. "I understand that too, Your Majesty." Stopped in front of him. There was something about his calmness that intrigued her. Most humans she had met were nervous around her. This one seemed comfortable. "Why did Earth choose you?" she asked. "Because I volunteered, Your Majesty." "Why?" Met her eyes. "Because my people need protection, and because I believe I can be useful to you." Laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. "Useful? What could a human possibly do that my empire cannot?" "I suppose we'll find out, Your Majesty." The wedding was scheduled for 1 month later. It became the social event of the decade. Species from across the galaxy sent representatives to witness the spectacle of the mighty queen marrying a human. During that month lived in the palace, watched him from a distance. He spent his time learning their language. He studied their customs. He walked the palace gardens and spoke politely to everyone he met, even the servants. The palace staff found him strange but harmless. Some him. Others made jokes about the pet human who thought he could be their queen's equal. Never complained. He never showed anger. He simply observed and learned. The wedding day arrived. The ceremony was held in the Grand Cathedral, a structure that could be seen from space. 10,000 guests attended. Cameras broadcast the event across the empire. Wore traditional silver robes that flowed like water. Wore a simple black suit from Earth, modified to match formal standards. They stood before the high priest and spoke the ancient vows. His voice rang with power and authority. His voice was quiet but steady. When the ceremony ended, they were husband and wife. The crowd cheered, though many were still laughing at the strange pairing. The reception was held in the palace's largest hall. Thousands of guests ate and drank and gossiped, sat at the high table with beside her. He said little, but his eyes constantly moved, watching everything. "Are you overwhelmed, human?" asked Lord Vex, one of his nobles. He was drunk and rude. "This must be quite different from your primitive Earth." Smiled politely. "It's certainly larger than anything we have, Lord Vex. Very impressive." "Impressive," Vex laughed. "This is merely a small gathering. You should see our military displays. Of course, humans wouldn't understand real power." Before could respond, the lights went out. Screams filled the darkness. Energy weapons fired, their lights flashing like lightning. Assassins from a rival house had infiltrated the reception. They targeted the high table, trying to kill in the chaos. Guards reacted instantly, forming a shield wall. The guests panicked, running in all directions. The entire hall became a mess of confusion and fear. Through it all sat perfectly still. He didn't duck. He didn't run. He simply sat and watched the chaos with calm, analytical eyes. Guards killed the assassins within 2 minutes. The lights came back on. Dead bodies lay on the floor. Guests were crying and trembling. Picked up his glass and took a sip of water. Stared at him. During the attack, she had used her psychic abilities to monitor everyone nearby. Most hearts had been racing with fear. The guards' hearts had been elevated with combat readiness. But's heartbeat had never changed, not even slightly. He noticed her staring and turned to meet her eyes. "Are you all right, Your Majesty?" he asked. Didn't answer immediately. She was thinking about Earth's diplomatic report. It had listed as a veteran, but provided no details about his military service. It said he was a problem solver, but never explained what problems he had solved. For the first time since meeting him, felt curious. What kind of man had Earth really sent her? 3 months passed since the wedding. Found herself thinking about more than she expected. He had settled into palace life with surprising ease. Every morning he woke early and exercised in the training grounds. The guards watched him with amusement at first. His human body couldn't match their strength or speed, but after a few weeks they noticed something strange. His movements were precise, efficient, and controlled in ways they couldn't quite understand. Studied everything. He learned the language perfectly within 6 weeks. He memorized the names and faces of every important noble. He understood their complex political system faster than many children did. But he remained quiet. He attended state dinners and said little. He stood beside during court sessions and simply observed. The nobles continued to dismiss him as harmless decoration. Only saw the pattern. Every suggestion made quietly worked. When he mentioned a supply route could be more efficient, she tried it, and goods arrived faster. When he suggested a minor change to a trade agreement, both sides ended up happier. When he recommended promoting a junior officer, that officer turned out to be brilliant. "How do you do it?" she asked him one evening. They were in her private chambers reviewing reports. "Do what, Your Majesty?" "See things my advisors miss." Looked up from his. "I just pay attention. Sometimes outsiders notice things that insiders overlook." "You're not just paying attention. You're analyzing, calculating." She leaned forward. "What did you really do on Earth before you became a diplomat?" Was quiet for a moment. "I solved problems, Your Majesty." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I can give right now." felt frustrated but also intrigued. This human kept secrets and she wanted to know them. A human aide named had arrived from Earth the previous month. He was officially listed as assistant, but guards reported something interesting. Moved like a soldier. A very good soldier. He was polite and professional, but his eyes constantly scanned for threats. Your aide said. He was military, wasn't he? Former Special Forces, admitted. Earth thought I should have protection. Protection in my palace, among my guards. No offense intended, Your Majesty, but my people are careful. Laughed, careful. Yes, I'm learning that humans are very careful. That evening they had dinner together. It was becoming a routine. At first, had dined with only because protocol required it. Now, she actually looked forward to these conversations. Tell me about Earth, she said. Not the diplomatic reports. Tell me what it's really like. Thought for a moment. Earth is beautiful and terrible. We have one sun and one moon. Our planet has killed us in thousands of ways throughout history. Diseases, weather, predators, and mostly each other. You fought wars against yourselves. Constantly, for thousands of years. Over land, resources, beliefs, and sometimes just because we were afraid of each other. That's barbaric. Yes, agreed, but it taught us something important. What? How to survive anything. He looked at her seriously. We learned to adapt or die. Most of the time, we chose to adapt. Studied his face. You speak like someone who has seen terrible things. I have, Your Majesty. But you smile, you remain calm. How? Because I survived, and I learned that fear and anger are just tools. You use them when needed, but you don't let them control you. Before could respond, Commander, her head of security, entered the room. His face was grim. Your Majesty, we need to speak privately. Glanced at, you may speak freely. My husband has security clearance. Looked uncomfortable but nodded. We've intercepted communications. Lord Vex is planning something. We believe he's organizing other nobles against you. Vex, eyes hardened. I've tolerated his insults for years. Now he plots rebellion. The communications suggest he's using your marriage as evidence of weakness. He claims you've grown soft, that you value this human over the Empire's strength. Stood abruptly, energy crackled around her hands, a visible sign of her anger. I should kill him now. We don't have enough evidence yet, said. If you move against him without proof, his allies will claim you're becoming a tyrant. Then gather evidence. We're trying, Your Majesty, but Vex is careful. It may take months. After left, paced her chambers like a caged animal, watched her quietly. You should act now, he finally said. Without evidence, that would make me look weak. No, gathering evidence makes you look reactive. Act first, find proof later. Stop packing, that's not how justice works. Then change how it works, you're the queen. I can't just. Why not? Stood and walked to her. You're worried about tradition, about what your nobles think. Your Majesty, Lord Vex is counting on that. He's using your honor against you. And what would humans do? His expression became cold. We'd remove the threat, quickly, quietly, and completely. That's barbaric. That's survival. Stared at him. This was a side of she hadn't seen before. The calm diplomat had been replaced by something harder, something dangerous. You've done this before, she said quietly. Removed threats. Many times. For your government. For my people. Sometimes governments get in the way of what needs to be done. Before could ask more, alarms blared throughout the palace. Red emergency lights flashed. His voice came through her communication device. Your Majesty, we have a situation. Multiple rebel ships just appeared at the edge of the system. Lord Vex has made his move. Ran to her command center, right behind her. The screens showed a fleet of 30 warships approaching Prime. They were broadcasting a message. Lord Vex's face appeared on the screen. He was drunk with power and pride. "Queen," he announced, "your weakness has brought shame to the people. You have married a human, a creature so inferior it cannot even breathe our air without help. You have placed this pet above the dignity of our empire. I, Lord Vex, challenge your right to rule. Surrender now, or I will destroy your palace and your pet human with it." The nobles in the command center murmured in shock and fear. Some looked at, waiting for her response. Others glanced at with pity and contempt. Hands clenched into fists. "Prepare the fleet. Activate all defense systems. I will crush this rebellion personally." "Your Majesty," said quietly, "may I make a suggestion?" Everyone turned to stare at the human. Some were surprised he dared to speak. Others were already dismissing whatever he might say. Looked at him. Something in his eyes had changed. The calm, polite diplomat was gone. In his place was someone else entirely. "Speak," she said. "Let me handle this." Lord Vex laughed when he heard the suggestion through the communication channels. "The pet human wants to fight. This is too perfect. Send him out. Let me show the galaxy what happens to humans who forget their place." Touched his communication device. "Are you ready?" "Always ready, sir," came the response. Grab's arm. "What are you doing?" Looked at her, and for the first time since they met, she saw who he really was behind those calm eyes. "My job, Your Majesty. I told you I solved problems." He smiled slightly. "On Earth, when diplomacy failed, they sent me. I was called the Ghost of Soul, and Lord Vex just made a very big mistake." The palace shook as Lord Vex's forces bombarded the shields. Explosions lit up the sky. Rebel troops were landing on the surface, moving toward the palace gates. Commander was organizing the defense. "All units, defensive positions. Protect the Queen at all costs." Stood in the command center, watching the screens with barely controlled rage. 30 warships against her palace defenses. Thousands of rebel soldiers attacking her home. Lord Vex had been planning this for months, maybe years. "Your Majesty," said urgently, "you need to move to the secure bunker. We can't guarantee your safety here." "I'm not hiding in a bunker while my people fight." "Your Majesty, please." "She won't need to hide," interrupted. He was typing commands into his fingers moving impossibly fast. "The situation is already contained." Everyone stared at him. Some nobles laughed nervously. Commander looked angry. "Contained," demanded. "Human, this is a military crisis. We don't need your—" "Execute Phase 1, said calmly into his communicator. Suddenly, the palace lights flickered. Every screen in the command center went black for 3 seconds. When they came back online, half of Lord Vex's fleet was dead in space. Their ships were floating, powerless. What did you do?" whispered. Didn't look up from his. "Humans are very good at computer systems, Your Majesty. We've had centuries of practice with hacking and cyber warfare. While I was learning your customs these past months, I was also studying your networks. Every ship, every system, every defense grid." He finally looked at her, including the rebel fleet systems. On the screen, Lord Vex was screaming at his crew. "What's happening? Why aren't the engines working? Restore power immediately." Commander stared at with new respect and fear. You infiltrated their entire fleet." "Not just theirs. I have access to every networked system in this sector. I've had it since week 2 of my stay here." His voice was matter-of-fact, almost casual. "I told you, I solve problems." An explosion rocked the palace. Rebel soldiers had breached the outer walls. They were inside the palace grounds now, fighting guards in the corridors. "They're heading for the throne room," reported. "We need to evacuate the Queen now." "No," said firmly, "I face my enemies." She turned to, "Stay here where it's safe." "With respect, Your Majesty, no," stood and walked to the door. "I'm coming with you." "You're not a soldier." Stopped and turned back to her. The calm diplomat was completely gone now. In his place was someone cold, focused, and dangerous. "Yes, I am," he said quietly. "I've always been a soldier. Earth just dressed me up as a diplomat because that's what you would accept." He touched his chest and his clothes shifted. The formal outfit melted away, replaced by black armor that seemed to appear from nowhere. Technology didn't recognize. "Nanotechnology," explained. "My entire body is enhanced. Cybernetics, genetic modifications, combat software. The Ghost of Soul wasn't just a nickname, Your Majesty. It was a job description." The doors burst open. 6 rebel soldiers rushed into the command center, weapons raised. They saw and aimed at her. Moved. Had fought in wars. She had seen the greatest warriors of a dozen species, but she had never seen anything like this. Crossed the room in less than a second. His movements were impossible, faster than even reflexes. He disarmed the first soldier before the man could fire. The weapon spun through the air and caught it and fired 3 shots in one smooth motion. 3 rebels dropped. The remaining 3 tried to adjust their aim. Too slow. Was already among them, using their own bodies as shields, turning their weapons against each other. In 5 seconds, all 6 rebels were dead or unconscious. The command center was silent. Everyone stared at with shock and fear. Said into his communicator, breathing normally as if he hadn't just killed 6 armed soldiers. "Status. We've secured the North Corridor, sir. Rebel forces are retreating toward the throne room. They don't know what hit them." "Good, Phase 2. Executing now, sir." Found her voice. "How many more of you are there?" 20 human diplomats came with me, Your Majesty. All of them former special forces. All of them enhanced like me." Reloaded the weapon he'd taken. "We've been protecting you since day 1. You just never noticed." More rebels were flooding into the palace. The sound of fighting echoed through the corridors. Guards were being pushed back. "We need to move," Commander said. He looked at with new eyes. "Can your people hold the palace?" "My people don't hold positions, Commander. We eliminate threats." Handed a small device. "Your Majesty, this is a shield generator. It will protect you from energy weapons. Stay close to me." They ran through the palace corridors. Rebels appeared at every turn but moved through them like death itself. He used walls, corners, and shadows. He never wasted a shot. Every move was calculated, precise. Watched him fight and realized something terrifying. This wasn't rage or fear or desperation. This was professional. Had done this thousands of times before. They reached the throne room. Lord Vex was there with his elite guard, 50 of the best warriors he could buy. They had taken the room and were using it as their command center. Vex saw and laughed. "There you are, come to surrender, my queen, and you brought your pet human, how touching." Stepped forward, and 5 other humans appeared from side corridors surrounding the rebels. They all wore the same black armor. They all moved with the same deadly precision. Lord Vex said calmly, "You have 3 seconds to surrender." Vex laughed harder. "A human giving me orders, kill them all." His elite guard attacked. What happened next would be remembered in history forever. The 7 humans moved as one unit. They had no psychic powers like they had no natural armor or superior strength. But they had something else: perfect coordination, centuries of human warfare experience, and technology that made them faster and smarter than any natural warrior. Fought like water and lightning combined. He flowed around attacks and struck with impossible speed. His combat computer predicted movements before they happened. His enhanced reflexes turned him into a blur of motion. One of Vex's guards tried to shoot him. Dodged the shot, disarmed the guard, broke his arm, and used him as a shield against 3 other attackers in the space of 2 heartbeats. Fought with brutal efficiency. He didn't waste movement. Every strike disabled an opponent. Every shot found its mark. The other 5 humans worked together like a machine. They covered each other, communicated through silent signals, and eliminated rebels with cold professionalism. In 90 seconds, all 50 of Lord Vex's elite guards were down. Vex stood alone, staring in horror at the carnage. This is impossible. You're just humans. You're weak. Was suddenly in front of him, moving so fast Vex didn't see him approach. His hand was around Vex's throat, lifting the larger alien off the ground. Weak? Asked quietly. We survived on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. We fought wars that killed millions and learned from every single one. We climbed to the top of our world's food chain by being smarter, tougher, and more determined than everything that wanted to eat us. He leaned closer. You call us weak. We call it motivation. He dropped Vex to the ground. The Lord crumpled, broken and defeated. Walked forward slowly. She looked at the unconscious and dead rebels. She looked at her human husband, standing calmly among the bodies as if this was normal for him. You lied to me, she said softly. You're not a diplomat, you're a weapon. Turned to her. His armor retracted, returning to normal clothes. The cold warrior became her quiet husband again, but would never see him the same way. I'm both, he said. Humans learned long ago that the best warriors are the ones who choose peace. That's why Earth sent me. I understand diplomacy and I understand war. I prefer the first, but I'm very good at the second. He walked to her and took her hand. I am your husband first, your majesty. Everything else comes second, but I will always protect what's mine. Outside, Captain's voice came through the communicator. Ghost, this is indomitable. We've arrived in system. Lord Vex's doomsday weapon is active. It's a gravitational disruptor aimed at the palace. Your shields won't stop it. Smiled slightly. Then it's time to show the Queen what human ships can really do. The screens in the throne room switched to show space above the planet. Lord Vex's weapon hung in orbit like a dark star. It was massive, a station built in secret over years. Energy crackled around it as it charged up. That thing will tear the palace apart, Commander said grimly. Our shields can't stop gravitational weapons. We need to evacuate now. How long until it fires? Asked. 10 minutes, Your Majesty. Not enough time to get everyone out. Looked at. You said your ships could handle this. Watch and learn, Your Majesty. The screen showed 3 small Earthships entering the system. They looked tiny compared to warships. The palace's military observers laughed when they saw them. That's the human fleet, one officer scoffed. 3 little ships, what can they possibly do? Captain's face appeared on screen. She was a young woman with sharp eyes and a confident smile. Ghost, we have visual on the target. Beginning attack, run. Wait, said Tu. Your ships can't possibly destroy that station. It's heavily armored. Even our capital ships would need an hour of sustained fire. We're not going to use sustained fire, replied. That's not how humans fight. The 3 Earthships split apart. From each one, hundreds of smaller craft emerged, tiny drone fighters, each one no bigger than a person. They swarmed toward the weapon station like angry insects. Drones, Commander frowned. Automated fighters are too slow to be effective. Our people tried that technology decades ago. Your automated fighters are too slow, corrected. Ours aren't. On screen, the drones moved with impossible coordination. They weren't just programmed. They were being controlled in real time by pilots back on the human ships, their minds linked directly to the drones through neural interfaces. Lord Vex's weapon had defense systems. Automated turrets fired at the approaching drones. They destroyed dozens of them. But for every drone that fell, 3 more took its place. The problem with automated defenses, explained, is that they're predictable. They follow patterns. Human pilots don't. We improvise. The drones weren't attacking the station's armor. They were too small for that. Instead, they targeted specific points. Sensor arrays, communication relays, shield generators, weak points that a computer database said didn't matter but human experience knew were critical. Within 3 minutes, The weapon station was blind and deaf. "Now for the fun part," said, "Captain, you're clear." "Understood, you're up." Another face appeared on screen, a young woman with a mischievous smile. "Hey, big brother," said to, "watch this." Blinked, "That's your sister." "My younger sister. She's a cybernetics expert, best hacker in the Earth Defense Corps." "Second best," corrected through the screen. "You're still number one, unfortunately." "Focus." Right, okay, here we go." His hands moved over her controls impossibly fast. Lines of code scrolled across screens. The weapon station systems began to flicker and fail. "She's hacking it," said in disbelief. "But that station's systems are isolated. There's no way to access them remotely." "Normally, no," agreed. "But isn't normal. She's using the drones as relay points, bouncing her signal through them to create a connection. It's like building a bridge while standing on it." On screen, the weapon station's charging sequence stopped, then reversed. The energy that was supposed to destroy the palace began feeding back into the station itself. "Oh no," Lord Vex whispered from where he lay defeated. "No, no, no." "Goodbye, Vex's toy," said cheerfully. She pressed a final button. The weapon station exploded, not from external fire, but from its own power destroying it from inside. The explosion was beautiful and terrible, lighting up space like a new sun for a brief moment. The throne room was silent. Every present stared at the screen in shock. 3 small human ships had just destroyed a weapon that should have taken a fleet hours to defeat. They did it in 8 minutes. Hal whispered. "Adaptability," said. "Technology is superior in many ways. Your ships are stronger, your weapons more powerful, but you follow rules. You fight the way you've always fought. Humans don't. We find the weakness, exploit it, and win." Commander looked at with something close to fear. "If 3 ships can do this, what could your entire fleet do?" "Earth currently has about 200 ships comparable to those 3, said casually. "We could build more if needed. We're very good at building things quickly." 200, repeated, "and they're all equipped like this." "More or less. Some are better at different things. That's another human trait. We specialize," smiled. "We learned long ago that diversity makes you stronger." Approached and saluted. "Sir, palace is secure. Rebel forces have surrendered. We have Lord Vex and his conspirators in custody." "Casualties?" asked. 12 wounded among Her Majesty's guards, 3 wounded on our side. No deaths." Stared at. "No deaths after that battle." "We use non-lethal rounds when possible, Your Majesty," explained. "Humans prefer to capture enemies alive. Dead people can't give you information or change their minds." Lord Vex groaned from the floor, walked over to him. The once proud noble looked broken and pathetic. "You called my husband weak," she said coldly. "You called his people primitive. You thought you could use my marriage as evidence of my failure." She leaned down. "You were wrong about everything." Joined her, he looked at Vex without emotion. "The funny thing is, you were right that humans are different from you. We are weaker physically. We do live shorter lives, but we learned something from being the underdog for thousands of years." "What?" Vex whispered. "Never assume the quiet one is harmless." His voice came through the communicator again. "We've hacked Vex's personal files. You need to see this. He wasn't working alone. He has evidence of other conspirators, including recordings of them planning the rebellion." "Send everything to Commander," ordered. "Make sure it's properly documented. We do this legally." Within an hour, the evidence was broadcast across the Empire. Video recordings, communication logs, financial transfers. Lord Vex hadn't been careful enough. The humans had recovered everything. 23 nobles were implicated. All of them had thought the Queen's marriage made her weak. All of them had plotted to remove her. Now they were all facing trial for treason. Stood in her private chambers, staring out at the stars. The rebellion was over. Her rule was secure. but everything had changed. Entered quietly. He had changed back into his normal clothes. He looked like the calm diplomat again, but would never forget the warrior she had seen. "You lied to me," she said without turning around. "I never lied, Your Majesty. I just didn't tell you everything." "That's the same thing." "No, it's not. A lie is saying something false. I simply didn't volunteer information you didn't ask for." Turned to face him. Why didn't you tell me the truth from the beginning?" Walked to the window and stood beside her. "Because you wouldn't have believed me. If I had arrived and said, 'I'm a cybernetically enhanced super soldier who can hack your systems and fight your best warriors,' you would have seen it as a threat. You would have rejected the alliance. So you pretended to be weak." "I pretended to be what you expected, a diplomat, someone safe, someone you could control." He looked at her. "But I was always protecting you. From the moment I arrived, my team and I have been watching, analyzing, and preparing for threats. Without my knowledge, without my permission." "Would you have given permission?" Was quiet. He was right. She would have refused. "You manipulated me," she said. "I protected you," he corrected. "There's a difference." "Is there?" Took her hand gently. "I am your husband, not just politically, but truly. These past months I've come to care about you. Not the queen, but you, the woman who works too hard, who worries about her people, who walks in the garden alone when she's stressed." He squeezed her hand. "I didn't come here just to secure an alliance. I came here to build a real relationship. But I'm also a soldier, and soldiers protect what they love." Felt tears threatening. She had ruled for centuries without showing weakness. But this human, this strange, dangerous, wonderful human, had broken through her walls. "I don't know if I can trust you," she whispered. "Then let me earn it," said. "Give me time. Let me prove that I'm here for you, not just for Earth." Looked into his eyes. Behind the calm exterior she saw genuine emotion. He meant it. "The galaxy knows now," she said. "About human capabilities, about what you can do, everything changes." "Yes," agreed. "The question is, how do we handle it?" Smiled for the first time since the battle. "Together, we handle it together." 6 months after the rebellion, the galaxy had changed. News of humanity's capabilities spread across every civilized world. Some species were impressed. Others were terrified. Everyone wanted to know more about these quiet, dangerous humans who had appeared from nowhere. The palace had changed too. Walked through the corridors and saw human advisors working alongside officials. She saw Earth technology being integrated with systems. She saw her people training with human soldiers, learning new tactics and strategies. Most importantly, she saw respect where there had once been mockery. Was in the war room, discussing defense plans with Commander. They had become unlikely friends. Had initially hated the human, but after seeing him fight and plan, the old commander had developed deep respect. "Your Majesty," greeted with a bow. "We were just reviewing the new joint patrol schedules." "How are they working?" asked. "Better than expected. Human ships are faster and more flexible. Our ships are more powerful. Together, we cover each other's weaknesses perfectly." Smiled. "It's almost like we planned it that way." A communication came through. "Your Majesty, Ambassador from Earth has arrived for the summit." "Send her to the conference hall," instructed. She looked at. "Your government is very eager for this meeting. Earth wants to formalize the alliance properly. Last time, they sent me with minimal backup and hoped for the best. This time, they're doing it right." Ambassador was an older woman with kind eyes and a sharp mind. She bowed respectfully too. "Your Majesty, thank you for hosting us. Earth is honored to strengthen our bond with the Empire." "The honor is mutual," replied. "Your people saved my throne and possibly my life." "And you gave our people protection when we needed it most," countered. "This alliance benefits both our civilizations." The summit began that evening. Representatives from 20 different species attended. Everyone wanted to see how Earth and the Empire would formalize their relationship. But there was tension. Empress of the Collective had also attended. Though we're one of the galaxy's oldest and most powerful civilizations, they had been the dominant military force for centuries. Now they felt threatened. Queen Empress began during the formal session. I speak for many here when I say we are concerned. Humanity has demonstrated military capabilities that were hidden from us. They infiltrated systems, hacked secure networks, and defeated superior forces through deception. How can we trust them? The room fell silent. Every species waited for response. Stood, Empress raises valid concerns. The galaxy does not know humans well. They appeared suddenly and they have surprised us with their abilities, but I have lived with them for 6 months. I have fought beside them. And I can tell you this, humans are not our enemies, they are our future. How can you say that? Demanded. They are dangerous. Yes, they are, agreed. But danger and evil are not the same thing. Humans are dangerous because they refuse to give up. They are dangerous because they adapt and overcome. They are dangerous because they think differently than everyone else in this galaxy. She looked around the room. But that same determination, that same creativity makes them the perfect allies. When humans commit to something, they see it through. When they make a promise, they keep it. Stood and addressed the assembly. Empress, you are right to be cautious. Earth has not been completely honest about our capabilities. We showed you our diplomatic face first because we knew you wouldn't accept the whole truth immediately. But let me be clear now. Humanity does not want to conquer the galaxy. We want to survive in it. We want to grow, to learn, and to have a place among the stars. Pretty words, said coldly. But words mean nothing. How do we know you won't use your technology against us? Because we're giving it to you, said simply. The room erupted in shocked conversation, even stared at in surprise. Ambassador stood and nodded. It's true. Earth has authorized me to offer our allies access to certain technologies, not our military systems but civilian applications, medical advances, food production, environmental technology. We want to share what we've learned. Why would you do that? Asked a representative from the assembly. Because humans learned something important from our history, explained. When you hoard knowledge and power, you make enemies. When you share it, you make friends. We would rather have friends. The debate continued for hours. Some species were skeptical, others were interested. But slowly, the mood shifted from fear to cautious optimism. During a break, found alone on a balcony looking at the stars. You didn't tell me you were planning to share technology, she said. It was Earth's decision, not mine, but I support it. He glanced at her. Are you angry? No, surprised, but not angry. She stood beside him. You continue to surprise me. Every time I think I understand humans, you show me something new. We're complicated, he admitted. We spent thousands of years fighting each other on Earth. We nearly destroyed ourselves dozens of times, but we learned from every mistake. We learned that cooperation is stronger than conflict. We learned that different perspectives make better solutions. And we learned that the best way to protect yourself is to make allies, not enemies. The galaxy is afraid of you. I know, but fear can become respect, and respect can become trust. It just takes time. A communication interrupted them. Commander's face appeared on the screen, looking worried. Your Majesty, we have a situation. Long-range sensors have detected something emerging from the void sector. It's big, very big. Show me, commanded. The image appeared on the screen. Something massive was moving through space, coming from the uncharted regions beyond known galaxy. It was larger than a planet, and it was heading towards civilized space. What is it? Asked. I don't know, admitted. But it's not like anything in our databases, and it's emitting energy signatures we've never seen before. Ambassador joined them on the balcony. Earth's deep space sensors detected it 3 days ago. We've been analyzing the data. Whatever it is, it's ancient. possibly older than any of our civilizations. Is it a threat? Asked. We don't know yet, but its trajectory will bring it through multiple inhabited systems. If it's hostile, millions could die. Empress appeared on another screen. All species are detecting this anomaly. I propose an emergency council. We need to decide how to respond. Within hours, military leaders from every major civilization gathered virtually. And dozens of other species. And now, for the first time, humans sat at the table as equals. We should attack it before it reaches inhabited space, suggested a general. We don't even know what it is, countered an admiral. Attacking might provoke it. Or save us, the general argued. The debate raged. Every species had a different opinion. Hours passed with no agreement. Finally spoke up, may I suggest something? The human wishes to speak, Empress said with barely hidden contempt. Very well, what wisdom do your young species offer? Ignored the insult. The problem is we're arguing without information. We need to know what this thing is before we decide how to handle it. I propose a joint mission. Send a small team from multiple species to investigate, not a battle fleet, a reconnaissance team. And if it attacks them, demanded, then we'll know it's hostile and we respond accordingly. But if it's not hostile, we avoid making a terrible mistake. Several species nodded. The suggestion made sense. Who would lead this mission? Asked the representative. I volunteer, said, and I recommend we include representatives from every major power. And human, show this thing that we're unified. Grabbed his arm. You can't be serious. This could be incredibly dangerous. Which is exactly why I should go. Your Majesty, you know my capabilities. And more importantly, you know humans are good at solving unexpected problems. This is what we do. I also volunteer, said a young officer named. If the human is brave enough to go, so am I. Others volunteered. Within an hour, a team was assembled, 10 individuals from 5 species led by. The night before departure, stood within their private chambers. For the first time since the rebellion, she let herself show fear. What if you don't come back? She whispered. Pulled her close. Then you'll rule wisely and remember that humans never give up. Our people will continue the alliance even without me. That's not what I meant. She looked up at him. I care about you not as a political ally, as my husband, as someone I've come to love. Smiled. I love you too. You're brilliant, strong, and you challenge me every day. These 6 months have been the happiest of my life. Then don't go. I have to. You know I do. This is bigger than us. This is about every species working together. And if I don't come back, you'll know I died doing something important. They held each other in silence, both knowing the morning would come too soon. The mission launched at dawn. A single ship carrying 10 representatives from different species. It headed toward the unknown entity, toward something that might change everything. Watched from the palace, surrounded by advisors and officials. The whole galaxy was watching. Every species waited to see what would happen when their representatives encountered the unknown. Your Majesty, Commander said quietly, whatever happens, you should know that humanity has changed us. They've shown us that being different doesn't mean being weak. They've proven that new ideas can solve old problems. The galaxy will never be the same. Nodded. I know, taught me that. And whatever that thing is out there, whatever challenge we face, we'll face it together, all of us. Every species. That's humanity's real gift to us. Not their technology or their warriors, but their belief that cooperation is strength. On the screen, the small ship approached the massive unknown entity. Energy signatures spiked. Communications went silent for a moment. Then's voice came through, calm and steady as always. All stations, this is the reconnaissance team. We've made contact, and you're not going to believe what we found. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to learn what new wonder or terror awaited them. But whatever it was, they would face it together. Human and alien united at last. And somewhere in the darkness, watching it all unfold, ancient eyes opened. Eyes that had seen galaxies rise and fall. Eyes that recognized something they hadn't seen in millions of years. Evolution, change, growth. The humans had awakened something, and the galaxy would never be the same.